Alright, so Black Clover Chapter 249, the official release, came out a few days ago, so now it's time for a proper analysis and breakdown of the chapter. A very Leo-centric type of chapter. Everything was just focused and showcased about his new flame magic, and that's what we're going to focus on today in this video. But there are some few things that I want to touch up on before we dive straight in talking about Leo. So for starters, let's bring up the elephant in the room in this chapter, or should I say, since this battle started between the Heart Kingdom, and that is the Spirit Guardians. Now, of course, in this arc, everybody's biggest disappointment is the Spirit Guardians. We already know that they all took L's and they were a letdown, but I think at this moment, it's beating a dead horse now. I think it's time for us to eventually get over that fact, because nothing is going to change. It's like a Dragon Ball fan always talking about Raditz. Raditz was wasted, and we get it, we know that, but it's always going to be a what if. There's only so many times you can critique the same thing every day, right? However, this chapter definitely opens my eyes, and I think a lot of people too, that it's a reason why the Spirit Guardians lost, and it's not because they were weak. They were in a handicapped situation. The opening panel of this chapter 249, we see that Master Floga, the Fire Spirit, is on the ground, bleeding out. He was defeated by the Dark Disciple. But you also see the citizens, they are all bloody, beaten down. Some of them are knocked out, and some of them are healing each other. One of the citizens sees that Leo is ready to fight the Dark Disciples, and he states that there is no way that he can dodge that. This lets us know that the Dark Disciple Sivoir, and I believe that's his name because it's pretty much spelled Savior, but take out the A and add an I, so I'm just calling him Sivoir. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, or if I nailed it, just let me know that I nailed it, alright? But this lets us know that the Dark Disciple Sivoir was also not only sniping the Spirit Guardian Floga, but also the citizens. You see how bloody they are and damaged, and they mentioning that Leo cannot dodge his attack. This lets us know that Floga was in a tight situation, and not only him but also the other Spirit Guardians. In a way, they had to fight these Dark Disciples while protecting the citizens. How could they really focus on fighting the Dark Disciples when the citizens are getting hurt? They are getting damaged. They had their hands full. It's different when Leo, the only time he had citizens in the way was when Svekin tried to damage a mother and a child. But he moved that child out of the way and the mother and fought the person mano a mano. Same thing for Leo here. Leo fought Sivoir without any handicap involved. So I think this all makes sense now. Hopefully when the anime returns, it actually shows the fights though. Now, speaking of Sivoir, I think this is probably my favorite magic type out of the Dark Disciples so far. We've seen Mist, we've seen Stone, we've seen Nasty Skin Magic. I think Eye Magic is pretty cool, I like it, especially when he goes into details and explains how his Eye Magic works. And not only that his eyes that are floating can identify someone's location, but also their magic and stamina. And with that, he can predict the next move that you're going to make by your gaze and the movement of your muscles. He's almost a perfect support mage and a very good assassin. I think this makes sense why he talks about that he never felt pain in the battlefield, and it makes sense. He's always behind the scenes sniping people. That's a sniper's job. So far, out of all the Dark Disciples, he has the best attribute. I dig it. And I love how Tabata is making it a difference between Marie's Eye Magic, because she also has it as well. And I do believe that Marie's Eye Magic definitely has more potential, because it's frightening. She can literally immobilize someone just by looking at them. She definitely needed help from Ghosh's mirror magic, but I think once she grows up and gets a grimoire, her spells are going to be disgusting. It's going to be ridiculously powerful. But I think in terms of coolness, I do believe that Sivor's Eye Magic is still cooler, especially that he can use a spirit gun, a magic spirit gun with his Eye Magic. It's not an actual spirit gun, but when I see it, I think of Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke spirit gun. We seen the fanboy of Tabata in this chapter, because this definitely was a reference to Yu Yu Hakusho. But for Leo to take that much damage from a 50% Dark Disciple to withstand all of that using his mana skin, it says a lot about his durability. But someone mentioned in my last video that maybe Floga lost in this battle because he doesn't have mana skin. And maybe mana skin could be a Clover Kingdom technique exclusive to them. Now we know that mana skin is a spell from reinforcement magic, which almost everyone has, even in other kingdoms except for Asta because he has no mana. But when it comes to dispel mana skin, we only seen that from Clover Kingdom mages. Now we do know in Black Clover anime episode 132 that Leo has been working on his mana skin with his brother and sister and the Crimson Lions. They have been going to the volcano, and the volcano, to be able to withstand this pressure, you need mana skin. So it makes sense why Leo's mana skin is on a whole different level after the time skip, but we see that the Clover Kingdom is heavily focused on mana skin. And I can definitely see that how every kingdom has their own specialty. The Clover Kingdom, they specialize in mana skin, while the Heart Kingdom, they specialize in rune magic, the Spade Kingdom, devil users, and the Diamond Kingdom good at taking L's. I think it's all balanced. Tabata made that very fair there, so I see every kingdom have their specialties. So yeah, now let's talk about the juicy parts about the chapter. So in this chapter, we finally get to see what's stopping Leo from being great compared to everyone else. Floga mentioned that every once in a while there is a blur in your fighting style. Something is holding you back. Why are you so hesitant? Leo mentioned that maybe it's because I have an older sister and an older brother that I really respect. Both of them are very powerful and I'm fully aware of their strengths. That may be why. That could be the very reason. And I mentioned this in my review, but it makes sense why Leo feels this way. You have a sister and a brother, two captains who probably are the most respected captains in the Clover Kingdom. You have Fuegoleon, who everyone loves. He's very strong, very powerful, he's a leader, and he has the Fire Spirit. And then you have Mereoleona, the most feared woman in the Clover Kingdom, probably one of the most feared person in the Clover Kingdom. And then we see a flashback of Leo's past, and they talking about how amazing he is, but he's nothing like a genius like Fuegoleon and Mereoleona. And that puts so much pressure on Leo because he has to live up to others' expectations to surpass his siblings. And Fuegoleon and Mereoleona set the bar so high for Leo to reach that sometimes he feels as though he cannot reach it because he said every time he gets stronger, he think about how stronger they are. Not only that, but out of the House of Vermilions, he is the only Vermilion to not be chosen for the Royal Knights. You had Kirsch Vermilion, Mimosa Vermilion, you had Mereoleona Vermilion, and the only person that couldn't been there that's a Vermilion was Fuegoleon by default because he was injured. More than likely, if he wasn't injured, he would have been the captain of the Royal Knights. This affects Leo in a huge way, and let's not forget, Leo has a huge rivalry with Asta, so when Asta gets stronger, it affects him as well. And this is a guy who vows to be the next Wizard King, just like, Asta, Nozel, and Fuegoleon. So I do love the fact that it's about to highlight the fact of the insecurity about Leo in this chapter that we didn't know. He has so much to live up to, and I'm intrigued. Now, one thing I didn't talk about in my review, but this panel right here, that Leo, he was having trouble trying to find Sivoir on the battlefield, and he said sharpen your senses. And after he did that, he was able to mark the location of the Dark Disciple Sivoir. And he used his profound spiral flames with the rune technique. Leo missed him, but it shows that his mana sensory is getting much better. Usually people with high mana sensory are wind magic types. Anyone can have it, but it's stated that people with the wind attribute have a high sensory of mana. That's why Luck has a very high one, because lightning is a variation of wind. So it makes sense, and it's very impressive that a fire mage user showed this demonstration. He missed the attack, but I still think it's a very impressive feat that Leo demonstrated here. Leo talked about that he may not have the talent as his brother and sister, but with those two in front of him, he endured all of that and let the flames burn inside of him. That motivated him. Now he's using his insecurities to motivate him, and that happened in this chapter using a massive Rune Magic Spell technique using true flame magic Crimson Eruption. Love the Crimson Lions reference in that, because in the fan translation it said Red Riot Eruption. I love Crimson Eruption much better. Sivoir asked Leo how was he able to create a massive spell like that, and Leo said little by little he was able to create it while he was distracted shooting all those magic bullets at Leo. And the way that Leo did this, Gaja talks about that the arrays of creating these rune magic techniques, you can order and you can enchantment to make it grow bigger or faster. And what Leo did, Leo was telling his rune magic to grow bigger, and that's why he was able to create a massive spell like this. Gacha told us that creating runes, you have to use natural mana. And since Leo is a royal, he has a large pool of mana, so it only makes sense why this spell was this massive. So it only makes me think and curious about what we're going to see from Noelle, because Noelle, her mana is definitely higher than Leo's. So I can only imagine how her true water magic is going to be like. But my favorite thing about the chapter was the ending. It's something that Leo said. Now, Sivoir, he was tripping, complaining, and screaming when Leo used his true flame magic, and he said he never got hurt before. This is unbelievable. But Leo said if you're not prepared to get hurt, then stay off the battlefield. That reminds me of Fuegoleon. That quote, Fuegoleon's a man of quotes, and Leo, he's learned a lot. That was like a Fuegoleon moment, but more importantly, Leo had his moment and this was it. So overall, solid chapter. I think Leo finished the job here. That guy is not getting up. He's probably dead. But I am looking forward to more Leo moments, and this was the moment that all the Black Clover fans that are fans of Leo, we waited for. We waited for this. So yeah, that's my breakdown of this chapter. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like on the video. If you are new, subscribe to the channel with notification bells on. Join my Discord, is in the description. Follow me on Twitter, that's in the description too. Again, like, subscribe. Take care of yourselves. Have an awesome life, and I'm out.